Warning, brave adventurer. This episode of Echoes of Honor may contain adult language or adult themes. Viewer discretion is advised. Hello everybody. Hello there. Welcome back to the Lost Archives. We are here. We are playing once again the excellent brand new Cosmere RPG in the Stormlight world setting. We finished our session last week, about halfway through the officially published Session 0, the first step. And I want to jump straight back into that. We've got all of our players here tonight. We've got all the characters in a bit of a tricky situation where we left off last session. So I want to make sure we jump straight back in. A massive thank you, first of all, to everyone who has seen that first episode. Everyone who's left a comment, everyone who's liked, it really helps out the channel. And I really appreciate all of you who have done that. If you're joining us for the first time and you haven't seen the episode 1, great news. This is only episode 2. You can just click on that link there. You can go watch episode 1. You'll be right back with us. No dramas at all. And if you don't know anything about the Cosmere RPG setting, you don't know anything about the Stormlight Archive, you've never heard the name of Brandon Sanderson, our Lord and Savior, hallowed be his name. Again, just click on this video that's appearing now, and you'll learn everything you need to know. I made a 10-minute video that covers all the introduction you could ever need. Some of the introduction, a bit of the introduction that you would need to get started. You should read the books. The books are fantastic. Like, don't think that video is a substitute for the novels. It's not. It's my best attempt, but the novels are excellent. You should read them. As featured.
Them. Pretty great. Didn't know Cosmere beforehand. Been diving into the last month. Good stuff.
Oh man, it's pretty life changing, I reckon, once you sort of read through the Cosmere, and especially once you start to read the books that are happening in other locations around the universe, and you start to sort of see the connections. The first time you start to notice the same characters popping up in completely different series, you're like, wait, what? And it's really cool. I'm a big fan of interconnected universes, so for me, I always get very excited. But yeah, that's pretty much all the fun news I have to share before we get started. I just want to jump straight back in. So let me do our quick intro, catch us up on where we were up to, and we will be diving straight back into the episode. Last session, we were introduced to Gark, Miki, Neivien, Rav-eth, Alaran, and Ztar, travelers making their way to the Aelthi war camps on the Shattered Plains as part of a larger caravan. Led by Bright Lady Rallinat and guarded by soldiers from High Lord Bethab's province of Alethkar, the journey from Kolinar and through the northern reaches of the Frostlands had been without major incident. That is, however, until the caravan sought shelter in a small canyon on the borders of the Shattered Plains. Attacked in the night by dozens of armed men, chaos erupted in the campsite, the soldiers scurrying to protect the civilians. Leaping into action, the members of our makeshift team worked to help the injured and fight with the guards against these clearly well-trained attackers. The tide of battle began to turn, the Bethab soldiers bolstered by the assistance and able to repel these aggressors. However, all was not as it seemed. As the attacking soldiers began to retreat, it suddenly became clear this was a deliberate move. A shard bearer, painted in black armor, launched into the campsite and carved through the Bethab guards with ease, his shard blade burning the eyes of the soldiers who dared to approach him. With Bright Lady Rallinat having retreated, clearly aware of this attack in advance, the remaining survivors from the caravan were now trapped in the canyon, the shard bearers sweeping their blade across the canyon walls and raining massive boulders down upon the helpless people cowering below. And that is where we left off last session. As you come to, light streaming down from the canyon opening above blinds you momentarily. You're bruised and battered, but somehow alive. As you begin to crawl free of the rubble, you can see that you are not alone. Others have managed to survive the brutal assault from the soldiers and then the terrifying unleashing of the shard bearer onto the camp. As you look around, you can see that all of your characters, you can see each other, as well as a number of soldiers who have survived the attack and a couple of civilians as well. Less than a third of the original caravan participants, the original members of the caravan, have survived this attack. And now you have all been left for dead in the outer reaches of the Shattered Plains. The few survivors eye each other warily, and there is open talk about people going their separate ways. You must rally the survivors, tend to the wounded, and re-establish the camp if you don't want what remains of this caravan to fall apart. So, no longer in the realm of multiple choice. Obviously, with the last session, we did almost like a fighting fantasy where I presented you with certain options that you would select from, and we'd follow a bit of a branching pathway. Now, it is much more like how we are used to playing TTRPGs, far more freedom. I have still hidden things that I will be tracking throughout this session based on the choices that you make, the successes and failures that you accrue. But from now on, we are far more in your hands. So I think the first thing that would make a lot of sense as you pull yourselves free of the rubble, would you like to introduce yourselves? There's a bit of wariness. Some of the soldiers begin to gather round. Ztar, you can see that 2 other Parshmen have survived and are standing around looking lost and confused. A couple of caravan attendants, a Theylan merchant, and an Aelthi. Hard to say. Looks like a maybe some sort of worker, quite chiseled. Looks to be a labourer of some sorts, dressed in fairly ragged clothing. Apart from that, it's a pretty bare bones group of survivors left behind.
Last time there was one of our guards that had kind of started noticing me a little bit. Do I see him around at all?
As you have a bit of a glance around, seeking any sign of him, could I get you to roll me a perception check?
I sure can.
I figure that makes sense in the moment.
Perception.
11. You can see that many of the Bethab soldiers are half buried under the rubble, and as you begin to sort of kick through, moving through the shattered remains of the defending force, you do see a familiar soldier. You can tell he's dead. Eyes burned out from the attack from the shard bearer, the blade having passed through either his spine or neck at some point during the assault, his body half crushed under the boulders that rained down from above during the night. It does look like he has perished.
In that case, for now, I'll probably go head over and mill about the other parchment.
Perfect. As you make your way over the... Oh, yes, Garland. No, you can go.
I was just going to say, looking around at the remaining soldiers, is there anyone of authority amongst them, or is it literally like aimless wandering?
It is very much looking pretty aimless wandering. As you look over the people who are left, you can see that there are no soldiers with any marks of their status. These look like regular soldiers, low soldiers in the ranking. No captains, no commanders, no... Yeah.
As Alaran walks through, almost... He's distracting himself from the carnage around him. He's very aware that there are bodies around him that is something that is grotesque and beyond something he can deal with in this moment. And he just starts clicking at soldiers and says on me, follow me, and tries to essentially bring about a sense of just follow rote instructions. This is not just give direction.
Yeah, okay. Could I get you to make me a leadership test, please? And I am going to say that this is a situation where I'd like to raise the stakes. You are you are lost in an unknown part of the Shattered Plains. The woman who was guiding this caravan, Bright Lady Ralanat, is gone. Alaran, you know she has fled. You know that she had advanced warning of this attack, possibly even helped organize it, and she has gone. You do not know where you are. If there's any maps, they're going to be scattered underneath the rubble. This is serious. If this caravan falls apart, you could potentially die out here. Could I get you to roll the plot dice with this?
Yes. Okay. Leadership with the plot dice.
With the plot dice, please.
Yes.
So, this is introducing the plot dice for the first time in Cosmere RPG. It's a natural 20, but you have rolled with complications, which is brilliant. So, the way that the plot dice works is that if you roll a 2 or a 4 in that little red border, it gives you a plus to your roll, equal to the number depicted. So you get a +2 to this because you rolled the complication dice with a 2. However, because of the red border, you get a complication. But you get an opportunity from the natural 20. So these kind of balance out in separate ways. I'm going to say that in this moment, Alaran, your sense of panic actually puts you into a state of shock. You are working off what you remember seeing. You're not really thinking at this point. You're just acting in those moments. And the soldiers seem to be in a similar state. They respond immediately. There are only 5 remaining Bethab soldiers, caravan guards left, and you watch as they immediately snap to attention and begin following your directions. But as they do, you watch as one of the soldiers, who is pretty badly injured, you can see his arm must have been hit by the shard blade. From the elbow down on his right arm, the skin has turned grey and lifeless, and the arm hangs uselessly by his side. It looks like the shard blade must have, maybe when he was holding his spear or sword, the shard blade passed through his arm and has severed the spirit from the arm. It is now essentially dead. That arm will never be useful again. And as you begin to sort of call out, you watch as he looks towards you, squints, and goes, "Why should we listen to you, boy? Where were you when all this was going down? As he looks towards you, Alaran.
Being the snooty, highborn child that I am, and I also don't have the capacity to kind of process in the moment. So he's the one with the dud arm.
Yes.
I think Alaran would literally either be, in this moment, one of two things. He would be oblivious and dismissive to it because he's focused on simply giving direction and following direction himself in the simplest form, or he would completely falter with this attention. And knowing how I'm feeling about him right now, he's almost going to sidestep the question and attention, and then he said he's going to direct the able-bodied people to form up and call others in the caravan to kind of group up for healing, because I'm imagining everyone is like there's injuries all around. So
yeah, you have actually managed to, all of you have managed to avoid major injury, but you are scraped. We're not tracking HP at this point in time, but imagine that you've all taken a third to a quarter of your health has been lost as a result of this. You're bruised, you're battered. Some of you have cuts, deep lacerations that you've had to bind with fabric scraps that you've either torn from your own clothes or the clothes of the many dead around you. You are lucky. All of you are lucky to have survived this. You can see that. And there are many around you who are not. But yeah, there are many injured. Everyone is carrying injuries of some form or another. And as you begin to sort of bind that together, Alaran trying to encourage the group and get them working, you watch as the man turns towards 2 of the soldiers. "Leave them. They're just going to slow us down. Caravan's lost. No point." And he begins to walk off outside of the canyon. The 2 soldiers look at each other. Only one of them follows him, leaving you with only 3 soldiers. As the man just strides away, grabs a spear off one of the dead soldiers, and begins taking off. Alaran, you've just watched a man desert his post, and another soldier follow along suit as they begin to take off. Miki, Rav-eth, Gark, Neivien, Ztar. We'll jump back with Ztar really quickly, if that's okay, Haz. Yeah, as you head over towards the Parshman, you can see one male and one female. Both of them are looking pretty upset. And as you look down towards their feet, you can see the bodies of one of the Parshmen crushed underneath the stones. The female humming to the rhythm of agony as she looks down at her crushed mate, you think. Or as close to.
Ztar would just hum back. I mean, what else can you do in a situation like that? But I mean, knowing that these are true Parshmen and not others
Oh,
quite like.
that's a good point. I've made a blunder. She can't be humming to the rhythm of Undead. No, I've made a blunder. I've made a blunder. No humming. You watch as they both look down.
I would have hummed
Silent.
to her at the very least.
Yeah.
I would have hummed to maybe to Lost or
Rhythm of Lost.
or to Grease, something along those lines. And
No, this is the point where I go, what does that sound like? But I'm not going to do that because that's a dick move. I'm not doing that. It's okay. You can just say I hum to the rhythm of Lost. That's fine.
Yeah, humming to the rhythm of Lost. I had a voice all prepped for today. You should we will have justice for this. It is not. I've lost my voice. With just these two around, and even knowing that they won't hear me, like, we will bring these men to justice. They will not know that what came for them, but it will be swift, and their end will be met for this crime.
You watch as the female looks up towards you. Some tears running down her marbled face. Darker, much darker skin than yours, with these veins of white marbling over the surface. She just sort of slowly nods and then stands, and you watch as the two of them look at the body of their fallen friend or fallen mate, and then begin to shuffle towards the center of camp. Not really sure what else they can do.
After that, I would kind of just busy myself around doing what I could to be helpful without looking like I was taking too much initiative with it.
100%. Could I get you, in that case then, could you roll for me? I'm thinking this kind of falls underneath... I'm tempted to ask for leadership, but I know this isn't really a leadership role because you're not really... I was wondering if maybe you want to do like leadership for the parchment, but not really that. It's more like you're doing, I would say, almost like a type of maybe survival or... I don't know.
Borderline deception-y.
Borderline deception-y too. It's sort of falling into that category. I'm going to say it's up to you if you wanted to do deception or survival, maybe kind of encouraging them for survival or deception. Maybe persuasion or deception is kind of the words we're looking for here. But it's tricky. It's not an easy one.
I guess I'd be trying to deceive the
people around as you try and help out. Yeah, 100%.
But in that case, for me, what I'm doing is then survival is the reason why I'm trying to do that. So
yeah.
With that, I might actually go the survival.
Cool. Absolutely.
Because for me, at this point, it has become a survival instinct to blend in as a parchment, but on a moralistic level, being helpful in a situation like this is kind of core for myself surviving and not becoming an actual parchment.
And I am going to give you the option. This is your choice. With Ash's role, with Alaran's role, it was definitely raising the stakes. With yours, it's up to you. I give you the option. If you wish to raise the stakes on this, you can. Obviously, survival is really important. You know, however, that the people around you are distracted. You could play it safe. It's up to you.
And raising the stakes does...
Rolls the plot dice with it.
Which does...
It could add bonuses. And give you a complication, or it could give you an opportunity. Hard to say.
Roll the plot dice with it.
16, and we have a nothing on the plot dice. That's a blank, so you get anything from the plot dice. That's absolutely fine. 16, Ztar, you are well practiced at pretending to be a regular parchment. You have many years of experience in this. I don't want to call it dull form or slave form because you're more in work form at the moment, but understanding
I'm
these,
in work form, masquerading as a dull form.
Yeah, but you've seen these formless, these songless parchmen, and you've been around them a long time. You know how to behave like them. You fall in line with the two other parchmen, blending in, safety in numbers. And you watch as a merchant comes on over to inspect the parchment, looks you up and down, goes, "Well, I wasn't expecting to gain a parchment out of this. You weren't with me originally, were you? Why am I asking you? Well, no one would be any the wiser." As this man You can see a Aelthi man seems to decide that one of his parchmen's lost. He'll just replace them with you for this little bit. Neivien, Gark, Rav-eth, Miki. Would like to go next. What would you be doing?
Gark, I think I need you to my side now. Can you please come here?
Oh, yes, my friend. Of course I can. Let me just move my way over. I'm very jolly. Even with all of this doom and gloom around me, I'm very, very... Yes, what would you like me to do?
I just look at Gark and then turn to the two deserting soldiers. Hey, you two, where do you think you're going? Where are you going?
I love you, Tom. This is exactly what I wanted to do. I see the altercation between the two. I'm like, Miki, come with me. And I sort of run, sort of after the two of them.
Well, this
Would
point,
I have seen that, Owen?
Yes. Yeah. You watch as Alaran, all of you see as Alaran steps forward, attempts to take command of the troops, is able to take command of 3 of the soldiers, but two of them just desert on the spot. The older soldier questioning Alaran's fitness to be a leader, Alaran kind of blustering back as a bit of a petty, spoiled light eyes, and the older man going, great, cool, fuck off and see you later, and then wandering out of the canyon, just with the other younger soldier following.
Then I think once that merchant goes and seeing 2 people desert their post, Ztar probably would have trotted along, seeing Gark and Miki head over that way as well, I think. Because desertion ain't cool.
Fair. Gark and Miki, as the two of you rush over towards the 2 soldiers walking away, the one soldier with his arm cut by a shard blade, now dead, hanging at his side, the right arm. You watch as the parchment, both of you, I think, during the combat saw this parchment sort of moving into the midst of battle, where other parchment kind of shied away. This one walked forwards and was kind of getting in the way of the soldiers. You watch as this same parchment begins to follow the 2 of you. The merchant behind calls out a few times to try and get your attention, Ztar. You ignore him. He eventually gives up, storming things. Bloody witless. This one's broken in the head. As he looks towards Ztar, wandering over to join Gark and Miki. Gark and Miki, as you make your way over towards the soldiers, you watch as the younger soldier stops for a second, clearly not expecting to be challenged. I mean, this lad's a boy, maybe 16, maybe 17. He's terrified, he's hurt, and he's just seen the closest thing to authority just storming walk off. He's following not out of loyalty, out of fear. But as you catch up to the 2 of them, you watch as the boy pauses for a second, lowers his spear and looks back at the 2 of you, and then sees like Ztar walking behind. Looks a bit confused for a moment, then turns back towards the 2 of you, Gark and Miki. The older man pauses for a moment, but doesn't turn around. Just sort of stands there with his hand resting on his sword.
How about you have a little look around? What do you see? You think you're just going to wander off into the desert? There's no future for you there. You must stay.
The older man doesn't turn around, but you hear his voice. Only death waits for us in that canyon. You think those were bandits or deserters? They were soldiers, even if we make it to the Shattered Plains. We can't be allowed to survive this. They'll kill us. Whoever this was. Storming light eyes and their storming games.
Look, little Rolander, if you think that he wanted you to die, he would have done so. You think he would just leave all these corpses with a few to survive? I don't think so. How about you just think for a moment and join us?
Miki, this sounds very much like a persuasion check, and I am going to. I'm just going to mark off because you're doing one of the things that is a fun one to mark off. I'm actually going to say persuasion or intimidation, your choice. Let me know which one, because it'll change what I mark off on your secret tracker.
That's an intimidation.
Intimidation. Okay, sweet. I get to mark off a fun one.
No plot dice, I presume. Only when specified, I will assume.
Yeah, in this case, it's kind of up to us, when we use the plot dice. You as players can call for it whenever you want. So I should say now we can talk about the plot dice a bit more freely. There are times where I will enforce it as the DM. I'll say this is a pretty high stakes situation. Roll the plot dice. As players, you can do the same. You can go, hey, this is pretty important. I think I should roll the plot dice for this. Or my character, this is a very key moment for my character. And it can be on multiple checks. It could be on a persuasion check. You could be like, this is a really important thing for my character to get information. It doesn't, and it can also, yeah. So it's up to you, Tom. You can call for the plot dice if you like. I'm not going to call for it on this.
Okay.
Cool. That's a natural 20. The dice are back in your favor. It's being made up for your terrible rolls last week. Miki, you watch as the older grizzled soldier turns around and you can see his hands, the one resting on his sword, is shaking. And as he makes eye contact with you, his eyes are wide, he's breathing ragged. He is just as terrified as the young boy. And you watch as he looks towards you and Gark, shakes his head. I've lost my bleeding arm. He severed it. I can't fight. Ash's eyes look at me. I can't fight anymore. What's the point of me?
You think the most important thing that you can do is to fight, then I think you're so typical, but you need to learn there's more than just that. Come back.
Storming Horn Eaters, the most important thing for a man is to fight.
You'll think that, I bet.
Most important thing for a man is to survive. And you are a veteran, are you not? You are a man who has fought in many battles. You have that knowledge. You could impart that knowledge on the young lordling over there who's trying to rally everybody. You could impart this knowledge on him. You could help everybody here survive. Arm or no arm, all it takes is a mouth and a head.
Wisdom from a storming shell cruncher and a long-haired Theylan. Fine. You're right. I'll talk to the princeling. Come on, boy.
Right. That's very good. Come on, let's go then.
You watch as he nods to the younger soldier, and the two of them need to make their way back down the canyon. Very nice. Very nice, the two of you. Gark, you were kind of assisting Miki on that. So what I'm going to do, yours was more of the persuasion category. You don't need to make a roll because Tom got a natural 20. But what I will do is I'll mark off what you would have gotten if you had passed a persuasion check on the secret tracker. Because you were persuasive, you were persuading as part of the assistance with Tom. It's just that Tom got a natural 20. So unless there's something else you'd like to do as well, you could still technically switch. If you wanted to switch gears and try and talk to some of the civilians, if you wanted to do something else, I'm more than happy to allow that.
It'll be just guiding them two back, seeing that the younger of the two of them was injured as well. I mean, I know they're both injured, but
yeah,
it would be a case of directing the more veteran man back towards Alaran, and then taking the younger one to sort of put him with the injured to be healed and patched up and everything. But I want to stick within ear range of the conversation with Alaran, just in case he needs a big brooding presence to stand behind him.
100%. Well, in that case, then so it's up to you. I can give you the ticks for intimidation if you're sort of big brooding presence to help Alaran, or the ticks for persuasion. You tell me what you think would be more fitting with what Gark's doing.
Everybody's all doom and gloom at the moment, and he's very much still a big barrel of joy. He's trying to bring a bit of light to the camp, even though he might not be quite feeling it on the inside. He's trying to uplift spirits of everyone. Perfect. And you can see that the young princeling is trying his best to take leadership when nobody else is. So he's trying to assist with that. Yeah.
Neivien? You have survived by hiding under one of the carts that's been crushed. You can see right next to where you are a chull, the enormous crab-like creatures that pull the wagons. The chull has had one of its legs crushed. It is still fine. It's got 6 legs. It's not a crippling injury for it. But you can hear the chull making these kind of sad chittering noises as it tries to examine its crushed, broken leg. This sort of dark purple blood stains the rocks right near where you're hiding. And as you slowly pull yourself out of the wagon, I'll hand it over to you.
Well, I think most of my injuries are psychological.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. What else is different for your characters, Raph?
I've not seen much in the way of any sort of violence like this before. This is quite horrific for Neivien, and in almost a state of shock, and uncertain quite what to do with herself. I think she'd probably be climbing up onto one of the wagons and looking around at the situation, trying to get stock of just what exactly has occurred and who's left, what supplies still remain, and starting to almost take a mental inventory of what has survived the attack, gear-wise as well as individuals, and making more of a mental note in a almost form of escapism from the situation, becoming
100%.
quite analytical about it.
I would love a perception check, please.
I can do that.
I thought you might. And I will have this. I've got ones for this. I can absolutely mark off this.
I just have to find where my perception's gone. There it is.
Right-hand side, underneath awareness and presence.
Next to the long rest button.
You need to log into Roll20.
13 is a pass. As you have a look around, Neivien, I'm going to say that it's not just the supplies and the status of the camp, the survivors you're looking for. It's also keeping an eye out for enemies. You've just faced terrible violence. You don't know where these people went. You watched as the soldiers retreated for the Shardbearer to attack, but that was hours ago. You've been unconscious for a while now, many of you. You don't know where those soldiers are, or if the Shardbearer is still around waiting to see if anyone crawls out of the canyon, ready to finish them off. As you have a bit of a look around, there's no signs of any movement up on top of the canyon walls around the bluff. The section of rock that was carved through by the shard blade, perfectly smooth where the blade has cut through. A huge amount of damage done by this Shardbearer, just simply cutting through an overhanging section of rock, dropping the top of the canyon on top of all of you. The caravans are destroyed. There is no way they are getting out of here in one piece. You're not bringing the caravans with you, not without spending a lot of time repairing them. And you don't know when the next high storm is coming. The last one was a couple of days ago. This close to the origin of the storms, there could be a high storm in 2 days. Maybe even sooner. You cannot be out unprotected if a high storm comes through. And this canyon should provide some shelter, but it was the caravans that helped protect you inside them. The gear that's scattered about, there are weapons aplenty. Crushed, a number of them broken, but there are salvageable weapons here. Spears, a few bows, some swords. But, I mean, you're not trained in use of the blade. You're a Vedan woman. The Voron Church forbids these. This is masculine arts. However, you can see over towards the tent that Bright Lady Ralinat had set up next to her wagon. There may still be things inside that are salvageable. Despite the heavy damage it took from the falling rocks, there might be things in there, things worth looking for. She was an Aelthi Light Eyes. Yeah.
Climb back down off the wagon and kind of actively ignoring anything and anyone that is damaged or dead. There's almost like this, if she doesn't look at it, it's not real at the moment, as she kind of stumbles her way, very shell shock-esque towards the tent.
For sure. As you head over towards the tent, you can see that most of it is crushed underneath the falling rubble, but there are sections that are exposed, and as you begin to kick aside some of the rocks and look inside, you can see that, I mean, Bright Lady Ralinat would have been staying in comfort on the inside of this tent. And inside there are what looks like a few scattered spheres. You can add 20 marks to your inventory that you pick up from the area around, scattered throughout the tent, as well as a broken span reed. Now, if you can repair the actual fabrial itself, the gemstone should still be paired with whoever had the other half. All you need to do is repair the actual fabrial itself. The gemstone should still be paired. Bit of stormlight to recharge it, and you'll be good to go.
Is span read one word or two?
One word. So for those who aren't super familiar with the Cosmere setting, a span reed is a device that can be used to talk across great distances. A gemstone is something is done to the gemstone. I don't want to give too many spoilers. And then it is split perfectly in half. And the two halves essentially are quantum entangled. What happens to one happens to the other, as long as there's stormlight infused. So if you have them attached to like a long stylus or a long pen, and one person activates their fabrial and writes with it, the other pen, however far away it is, will write the same message, as long as there's ink and things like that. So yeah, this is a broken span reed. Unknown who it connects to, Neivien, but hey, later on, if you can get this repaired, could be a very interesting conversation.
Excellent. I tuck it away and kind of just keep scrounging. It's almost like if I'm looking for things, I'm being helpful. I don't have to focus on any of the other stuff. So that's kind of just what I'm doing at the moment, even if it's just sort of sorting through, just moving rocks from one spot to another without any real function behind it, to the point where I've like broken nails, my fingers are bleeding. It's just I'm moving rocks looking for things.
Yeah. Rav-eth, what are you doing?
Rav-eth is probably still doing what Rav-eth was doing originally, which is just trying to deal with the injured as best as they can. You just see Rav-eth kind of kneeling over some of the bodies, probably more so now in the center of the camp. Just Storms. This one's been lost. I need to tend to the other one. This one's wounds are grave, but a little bit of the poultice and some bandages, I might be able to stabilize it.
Rav-eth, your choice. You can roll with medicine, which is trying to sort of, you're relying on your medical training. Discipline, which is more about doing things with a very steady hand, doing what you can to like steel your mind and work with it. Or I would say maybe insight, diagnoses. You're trying to sort of like use your assessment of these people to figure out what needs to be done, essentially triaging. Your choice.
I could do medicine or insight. I think I might try insight in this case. Just
insight. No dramas at all. I will mark off those two things.
It's 12.
12 is the DC.
Oh, very good. Just made it.
Exactly. As you begin to look over the wounded, attempting to do a bit of a triage, it doesn't take you too long to realize that there are two people here who are already dead. They're unconscious, they're bleeding out. The damage they've taken, the crushed ribs, there's nothing you can do but hasten their death. But the others, you can help these people. There are broken bones, there are lacerations, bruises, but with enough water and shelter, these people will survive. If you can get them to safety, they will live. Your tiny contingency, all that's left, 5 soldiers. Oh, and the man with the shard blade cut arm. No, that's nothing you can do for that. That's permanently like that. But yeah, the 5 soldiers. One of the soldiers in particular has a really nasty gash on his hand that is already starting to attract rot spread. You can see as he bends down to pick up boulders, a few of these red mite-like creatures climbing up the boulder, beginning to move towards his hands as he winces, picking up the sections of rock, trying to uncover and move aside to look for survivors. As you head on over, wash out the wound with some clean water from Barrel Stalk, begin to bind the wound. You see the rot spren begin to sort of move away and vanish almost from sight. The merchants who are with you, there are 6 people, including the 2 Parshmen. So 4 humans, 2 Parshmen, who aren't you guys, who have survived the attack. So all up, out of the caravan's initial number, this is a shockingly low number of survivors. And yeah, you do what you can get them on their feet, get them walking. Luckily, no one has suffered any serious injuries to their legs or to their feet, which means they can walk. Most of the injuries are the upper body from when the rocks tumbled down or from cuts, stabs from spears that cut into them.
Yeah.
But as you bind the wounds and get these people back on their feet, you think these people are good to move. Not for long. You'll need fresh water and supplies. But for now, you get these people organized. Alaran, as the older soldier, begins to head back towards you, grumbling. He begins to offer some advice quietly in your ear and occasionally calling out to the others. Right, boy. Sorry for my words earlier. We're in a storming bad situation here. But we can get out of this. You need to act like you know what you're doing, even when you don't. I'm gonna call out stuff as if you've told me to do it. Don't contradict me, and I won't contradict you, alright? We'll get these people back to the war camps, get them to the war camps safely, and you'll have a great tale to tell at your light-eyed parties later on, alright?
Alaran hears this, and like almost a smirk hits his lips that despite him not having done any of the work that you guys all just put in, that yes, of course, this is like the outcome. And it's like, that is exactly what he should be doing.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
With that, he says, I'll make sure to put a good word in when we get back.
Too bloody right. You survived this because of my soldiers. You're alive because they gave their lives for yours.
Yes, yes, of course, and that is the duty of the soldier to lay their hand. And then Alaran is going to say, I was thinking that we need more people with weapons, and there is lots of weapons lying around. So I think maybe you're meant. And then he looks at the guy and realizes he's basically just said he will do all the thinking and command it, and it's like. And Alaran just goes, I just need an attendant to see to my attire as well while we're... And he just basically walks off on this guy back to the broken caravan, opens it up and like is trying to find something to like dust himself off.
Got to get your priorities straight. He watches the older soldier, rolls his eyes heavily. Miki and Gark, you watch as this older soldier rolls his eyes and goes, storming light eyes. Right. I don't know how long we've been down here. I don't know how long the sun's been up. But we've only got a few hours of daylight each day, and we cannot stay here. Scent of blood will attract predators, white spines, axe hounds, chasm fiends. It's unlikely this far out, but we cannot stay here. Gather supplies.
Not to mention the high storm. There'll be one soon.
Thanks, Natan. Your type at no high storms well. Cannot be caught in a high storm. We need supplies, food, water first. Grab what you can. The dead don't need it.
Oh,
we do.
I can collect those. Collect those things from the existing carriage we have here. No worries, I'll get that right now.
Everyone, we live or we die together. Grab everything you can. We leave in 1 hour. With that, the soldier nods and begins to make his way down to the rest of the soldiers. And together, they begin picking through the bodies, looking for water skins, looking for food, going through the caravans. Seems like the highest priority, based on what this soldier has asked, is for food and water right at this point. Not weapons, Alaran, unfortunately.
Are there any dead enemies there?
Yes, Gark, there are.
I'd like to walk over to some of their bodies and just inspect them. Turn them over, see if they've got any insignias or anything on them that might be sort of give us a hint as to who they may or may not be.
I would love a perception check, please, my friend.
Not with the plot dice. 14.
Okay. As you look over the corpses, you can see that there are attempts made to hide clearly military training. The uniform, I mean, you can see the tan lines on the skin from where a long-sleeved uniform, a typical Aelthi uniform, would have been worn. But they've replaced it for these kind of ragged shirts that have been rolled up at the sleeves. You can see like the tan around the neck from a high collar. These are soldiers that have been dressed down to look like bandits or deserters. Not a single scrap of fabric, cloth, bears any insignia at all, which is complete rubbish if they were deserters. Deserters don't strip off all of their insignias. They wear what they walk out with. They take everything they can. And soldier uniforms are well made. They're designed to be protective. They're designed to be easy to wear, to fight in. Deserters keep their uniforms. They don't wear rags. Their weapons are far too well made. Well kept. There's not a speck of rust, scratches on the blades beyond those accumulated during the fight last night. These are soldiers, Gark. Well-trained soldiers. Aelthi soldiers.
As I'm looking over the bodies, I'm picking up each of the weapons that they have. The plan is to get whatever weapons, any weapons that are left over, I'm going to try and put into one pile, tie together, and then I'll carry that on my back as much as I can physically carry.
Yeah. You can sell those, 100%.
I can sell those. I can barter them for, if we bump into anybody, I can barter them for goods or anything like that to try and, you know, if I can make a few spheres out of it, then, you know, I am Theylan at the end of the day. So,
well,
good,
it's funny you mention that, because as the older grizzled soldier sees you picking up weapons and adding them to a pile, you watch as he looks. By Kelek's breath, we need food. We need water. We need supplies to make our way to the Shattered Plains. Weapons are not as much use as you think they are, Theylan. Yeah, you can sell them for a few marks if we make it to the Shattered Plains, if we make it to the war camps. That's a big if. And if you're wasting your strength carrying this bullshit, we're going to have a problem.
I'll carry anything that you want me to. But anything that we can trade, anything that can be used to trade if we bump into anybody along the road is always helpful. Oh, by the way, we'll kick one of the enemy bodies. These are soldiers. They're not deserters.
I'm aware. They're too well trained and supported by a shard bearer. There's no way these were deserters. Oh, someone did this deliberately.
Do you recognize these men?
You watch as the soldier pauses for a second as he turns around and sees a parshman asking that question. And genuinely, for the genuine look of shock on his face, Ztar, the judgment that he was expressing towards Gark fades away in a moment as he sees a parshman ask this question and goes, What? No, I don't recognize these men. Not personally. They're Aelthi, I can tell you that. I don't know where they're from exactly. You.
A shard bearer would be recognizable.
You're strange for a parshman. One of my boys tells me you were helping during the fight, getting in the way of the soldiers.
My master trained me as the parshman leader.
Who is your master? Ralanat?
No, I came to be in this caravan not by my own will. I
didn't know Parshman had will.
Well, some are trained to. It makes no sense to have even a Parsh group needs a leader sometimes. I'd say it's a bit more tiltedly than I am now. You know, I'm struggling to still find this voice.
No, that's all good.
My master found it helpful to have one who can talk. seeing I get a bit away, probably drop down to some simpler, stupider words. But
Yeah.
No, I was sold, and I've passed hands several times to come to this caravan.
Right. Well, the words you speak are true, Parshman. Shardbearer should be known. I profess I don't know all those who own plate and blade. I certainly didn't recognize the armor, painted black by my eyes in the dark. Are your eyes keener? Can you see better in the night than we can, Parshman?
I mean, I took a shot at this guy. Would I have seen anything? What do my Parsh eyes see?
What do your Parsh eyes see? You caught a glimpse of the armor painted black, and you watched as an arrow ricocheted off the armor doing fuck all, as it would be expected to do to shard plate. Do you want to make me? I know we rolled for this in the moment, but I'm happy to actually do this again. Now that you got a bit of time to reflect and think, could you roll for me a perception check? This is like a retrograde perception check. I'd also allow... What else would fit this? I'd also allow deduction. I think a deduction check kind of actually fits even better than perception. He's less happy with that look at his face.
I mean, I was going to say perception is something that Ztar would prize himself on, but deduction would be the backup thing there for what his life has led him to at this point. So I'll go the deduction just for funsies.
Yeah, 100%. Oh, 19. Man, the rolls are better tonight. So clearly, I've got to say, the instruction we gave at the end of the last episode was that everyone leaves likes and comments and they'll refill the bank of high rolls. I've got to say, guys, you pulled through and you can see the results right here. Continue, and we shall continue to see the
666 views. We did a deal with the devil.
Yeah. Lucifer himself left us a very lovely comment. I can't show it, but it was lovely. As you examine your memories, Ztar, thinking back, it wasn't just black. As the armor moved in the gaps between where the plate overlocks and overlaps, and where swords had scratched against it, where your arrow pierced it, flashes of yellow visible on the surface of the plate. Its true color, perhaps?
Could this armor was painted yellow?
Could this be a moment where Alaran, being the dick
Leander's back in
and seeing that like this is a stopped activity of people discussing things, he walks past and just offhandedly comments that that's Thanadol's shard bearer, and like dismissively communicates essentially like, yes, it's one of the high princes, it's the Thanadol's shard bearer, and basically eyes the dull-armed guard that's been kind of promoted and in charge, and said, I need 2 of the most sprightly amongst the group to come forward, if you can go find them, to like the guard captain, basically. And
Hang on,
like
lad.
Completely dismiss.
Hang on, lad. Stop yourself. Bright Lord Thanadol. These were his men. You sure?
The yellow shard bearer. I'm pretty sure that makes him this would be knowledge that I would know, Owen. That Thanadol's full shard bearer is the Royal Defender. They're the only member of the Thanadol house. They have a yellow plate set.
Yep.
And
they're the only person with both plate and blade.
Yeah.
He as soon as he said this belongs to Thanadol, Ztar would like grab your like arm, like as you're trying to like brusquely, like get back to work, peasants. Are you trying to move on? I'll grab your arm.
Or could I make a contested, like, as this Parsh is going to touch me?
Yeah, I at this point drop all pretense of Parsh.
Okay. I will have...
All deep on the Andy.
Agility?
I think this. I'm happy to do this as a contested check. I reckon this could be under a contested agility or athletics. Your choice. Each of you can choose which one to roll.
I'll be going athletics though.
You've been given disadvantage, Alaran, and I quote, for being such a douchebag.
Thank you. I'm doing it right.
Chef's kiss chat.
All right.
Oh no! Oh no! So, Alaran, with a disadvantage, 15 and 6, we'll take the 6. Ztar, that's a natural 1. That's going to be a complication. Ztar, as you reach out and grab Alaran and try to grab at Alaran, not only does Alaran pull himself away, you watch as the oldest soldier looks at you so harshly, Ztar, and then slowly pulls out his blade. You're one of them, aren't you? One of them on the plains.
Whoa, friends. No, there's no need for violence and all of this sort of stuff. We're all in this situation together. Our young friend here helped out during the fight. If they were an enemy of ours, they would have stabbed us in the back at this point by now, I'm sure. Is that correct? The correct assumption? Sorry, what is your name? Do you have a name?
Parshmen don't have names.
My name is Ztar.
Ah, see? He does have a name. He? They?
And for your reference, Aelthi, we all have names. Just because you have been unable to listen doesn't mean we do not have them.
You watch as the
But
soldier.
No, I am not one of the Parshendi, as you call them. They listen. I sing. As I hum very loudly to pride.
Ooh, okay. I am going to rule for the purposes of fun. Neivien and Rav-eth, you're also over here by this point, so it's now all of you plus the older Aelthi, whose name you haven't asked. So don't worry about it. As the older soldier sort of standing there, his left hand on his sword, right arm hanging uselessly by his side, as he looks over. You did help in the battle. You saved at least one of my lads. Slowly sheaths the sword. I don't care who you are or what you are. As long as you are here to make sure that we're alive, as long as you stick with us. I don't care who you are or what you are, where you came from. From this point, all of us are dead if we don't get out of here.
From Thanadal's son. If these are men of Thanadal, they need justice.
Justice will serve you no good if you are dead in the desert.
Ztar feels a big pat on the back from Gark as I sort of pat you on the back and see, we can all be friends in this situation. We can get out of here. We can survive.
Taking a sec to listen to what Rav-eth said there. That checks out. Can't bring justice if you're dead. I'd simmer down. I think probably would have subconsciously even gotten that little dagger I found and slipped that back
at your side.
Little sheath,
I should say Gark, Rav-eth, Miki, Neivien, and Alaran. This is the first time you've heard a Parshman humming. As Ztar speaks, there is this sort of constant tone moving up and down, this rhythm of music coming from Ztar at all times. The one at the moment, the Rhythm of Pride, it's this bold, almost like musical, percussion-like rhythm, very fast-paced, deep notes hitting and punching one after the other, sort of almost like staccato finish at each point. And then as Ztar sort of begins to quieten down, as you sort of force yourself, Ztar, to attune to the rhythm of peace, bringing yourself back down again, this sort of slow, gentle, flowing hum begins to emanate from Ztar. It is unearthly, unlike anything you've ever heard. But it does speak to you, each of you, as you feel the rhythm of peace begin to wash over you. Even Alaran, as you feel the rhythm of peace wash over you.
How does that sound, Has?
I was going to say that, Alaran's paid no attention to Ztar, except for the, almost grabbing moment. and has turned attention like almost immediately away. But even in this moment, the hum has his like hair on the back of his neck and arm like turned to like goosebumps.
3 arm hairs he has.
He feels it, yeah, but he doesn't even like, he's not even consciously aware of it, but there is something recognized here. And then he turns to Brightness, Neivien, and checks in with Neivien. But I don't want to take up some time with that. Matt, you were going to say something.
No, it's all good. Rav-eth just like looks at Ztar. Fascinating. I have not heard of this or heard of music like this. What? You're
Because
not
you,
a Harshman, are you?
human, do not hear the tones of Roshar.
I think we've got the name of the episode.
Quite nice.
You hear nothing. You do not even let alone thing.
Oh, well, it's a great tune you've got there. I think I'd like to learn a little bit more of that type of thing. That could be good entertainment on our travels. Now that everyone here has had their little get-together and we're all happy now, I think we need to turn our attention to, not dying out here. So,
I concur.
we need to probably, and then with that phrase, looks towards both the senior guard and also Alaran. What do you think? Where are we going to go? Are we going east? Are we going to hunker out here? What do you think?
We need to make our way to the Shattered Plains where we're days, a week, on foot away from any of the Aelthi, any of the Aelthi princedoms. We won't make it before the next high storm. Our only hope is the Aelthi war camps.
Okay, well, we can stop.
Yeah,
Sorry.
two Chels survived. Neivien was with one of them.
Okay, well, we have, as you pointed out, the Chels. We could also maybe see the closest high point. We can get a better view. If there's other moving merchants or things like that, I'm sure that would be helpful. So, how about we chop on that one?
Does anyone have any wounds that need to be dealt with first? Anything pressing?
Can you repair clothing?
No, I can repair broken bodies.
Oh, I've got a stitch in my vest that needs repairing before we get to the war camp.
I think
somebody else.
Forgive me, but I believe that is the least of our worries.
I don't see how in any way, shape, or form that is of any relevance in walking. Just don't worry about your coat.
This man must look pristine if he is to arrive at the Shattered Plains.
Do you say that,
I
Ztar?
like this one.
Do you say that, Ztar?
Yeah, 100%.
You
You're
watch
making
as
it so hard to ignore you.
you watch as the
Now that it's dropped, I've spent the last several years trying my best to be invisible. Now that I'm seen, you're getting real, Ztar.
you watch as the older soldier rubs his eyes for a moment, and goes, "Ash's eyes, I've lost my mind, haven't I? A parchment making jokes, funny jokes. God, this world is upside down. All right, let's get the survivors together. Let's get out of here. Make our way east to the plains. Do you know these lands?"
Correct, though. The high ground will be beneficial. I will scout that ahead. I have some skill in tracking.
Someone should go with you. I'm not saying I don't trust you.
I can go with that little man.
I have
But
traveled.
he doesn't trust you.
I have traveled these roads before. This was in a previous time my people's lands. I could go with
Perfect.
Ztar, was it? Have you said your name?
That is my name.
Oh.
I co-opted Tom's accent for a microsecond there.
Oh, yeah.
It's infectious. I keep hearing Airsick Lowlander echoing in my ears.
I will go with the strange Parshendi. Parchment.
And me too. I want to. Let's go. We can go this moment. No,
Fine.
time to waste. Off we go. Come on.
Okay.
Singer.
Huh?
Thing.
Ah. That explains the music.
Parshendi
Like a
is
bard?
Your word, parchment is borderline offensive.
Oh, my apologies.
Parshendi's not even borderline offensive. Parshendi is the Aelthi word for parchment who can think. It's really not good.
That's a compliment.
Is it?
I mean, it's not an insult.
If singer is what you are willing, if that is what you wish to be known as, then I will refer to you as a singer then. Rev, by the way, it's good to meet you.
Ztar.
Ah,
A pleasure. You rare to find someone so willing to change what they know upon meeting someone new.
It is an inherent aspect of my people, and we are displaced, so we have been forced to learn and adapt to new and exciting things.
I suppose you two do look more different to a usual human than most. Perhaps you will understand.
We are born of the moon, the Natans.
Everyone once meets their ideal. Today is your day. You're welcome.
I have funky eyebrows.
Yeah.
Oh,
So, Rav-eth, Miki, and Ztar, as the three of you make your way up to go and have a bit of a look out, scout ahead, get a bit of high ground advantage, Gark, Neivien, Alaran, the rest of you travel back with this older grizzled soldier. Gather the rest of the group and then begin to make your way up the side of the box canyon. As you emerge into... Oh, yep, go.
With Naveen's stock take and noting that there's at least, there's the two chulls that have survived, would there be any way to, if not make a usable wagon, at least maybe a usable sled that we can drag behind the chulls with items or wounded?
100%. I would like you to make for me, Neivien. Could you please make a... I'd like a crafting check, please.
Could I ask that I assist with this in a deduction check specifically to work out what the best income to weight ratio is for the stuff that we're loading up? So we're telling the merchants to leave heavy things behind in exchange
like water and food.
Yeah, or like swords and my suitcase is full of different fine clothing. I'm not taking most of that stuff. I'm wearing what's on. I'm just kidding about that. But, yeah.
I would like to, sorry, Joshy, just one thing I'd like to add, that I feel this is relevant for a plot die, because I feel without being able to carry the level of supplies that we need, we're all
You're going to die.
screwed.
Yeah.
I was going to say, could I also assist in a like with athletics or some sort of strength check?
Heavy lifting, 100%.
As I see Neivien doing this, I
for sure.
move over and I start picking up the biggest bits of wood to try and sort of help put them down in order for this thing to be created.
100%. 7, Neivien, but with an opportunity. And I am going to rule that if you wanted, with the assistance from Josh, from Gark, I'm happy for you to roll that with advantage.
Oh, okay.
You keep the plot dice as is.
It's a fraction better. She's pretty fucked up at the moment.
10, yes, but with the opportunity with the plot dice, and with a 15 from Alaran and an 18 from Gark. Here is what happens. Neivien, it's less about your failure to construct something and more about the destroyed nature of what you're working with, and what you cobble together is the best you can do with the limited supplies that you have. Encouraging the chulls to drag something behind them is pretty tough, but you do manage to do it. The injured chull's not going to be much help, but the mostly uninjured chull that kind of pulled itself into its rocky carapace before the boulders fell is able to pull behind a makeshift sled, the roof of one of the wagons that's mostly undamaged, combined with a section of the wall that you kind of cobbled together with Gark's help. As you load up a few of the people who are injured, damaged, still able to walk, but helping to ensure that they are mostly looked after. Alaran, I mean, you heard the older soldier that water and food is the highest priority right now. The next most valuable thing that you can find is just the spheres from the dead. Are you going to pickpocket and go through the dead bodies to collect as many spheres as you can?
Not personally, but I will. I will encourage those of the group that are not the soldiers and not able-bodied, like workers, to clear the spheres of the party, and it will be part of the compensation pile that will be negotiated back at the war camp.
Okay. A younger Herdazian man, looks to be sort of 18, 19, is the only one willing to go picking through the bodies of the dead for you, Alaran. And as he comes back with a pretty meager selection of spheres, you realize he has to have kept some of these for himself. As he hands them over, he's like, here you are, gone. It's all I could find. Sorry about that.
And your pockets, Herdazian.
What's in my pockets is my business.
The Northern Kingdoms talk of you and your people. I know your tricks. I've heard.
Never been to the Northern Kingdoms myself. Born in Kolinar. But, sure. Cool. As he just smiles at you.
Could I make an intimidation check?
Sure. Absolutely.
And could chat please give me disadvantage?
No, you don't. They don't need to. I'm going to do it, so it's fine.
Cool. All right.
That's an 8.
That's an
Already
8.
started well.
Can it be worse? It
5.
can.
It can. You watch as the Herdazian just smiles, hands in his pocket, and goes, I think you should stick to the wine sipping. Yeah, Gancho? Leave the real stuff to real people.
Yeah, Alaran probably hasn't met many Herdazians and thought this would be easier.
Yeah.
Yep.
Herdazian smiles, pulls out a little spark flicker and begins flicking little sparks from his thumbnail. Herdazians have these gemstone-like fingernails, and you watch as he pulls out a little bit of flint and begins flicking little sparks up in the air. He goes, well, gives you a big smile. Begins whistling as he walks off. You can hear the sound of spheres jingling in his pockets as he does so. And he pulls one out, tosses it up, catches it, and tucks it away again right in front of you. He could not care less.
Alaran, it's not equipped for this. It is the evidence at every step that he doesn't know how to handle this situation. And even though he has seen it, he internalizes it again and then fixes his code and makes himself look as proper as he can. And it's clear on his face he is not good.
Rav-eth, Miki, and Ztar, up on top of the bluff as you begin to look out across the plains that stretch in front of you. The land here is this vast open network of broken, almost like plateaus. And as you look towards the east, the sections between them, the ravines and chasms between them begin to grow larger and larger. On the horizon, you can see a massive section of stone rising up this sort of mountain splitting part of this plain land in front. You know that the mountain is where you need to head to. This is where the Aelthi war camps are located, on the other side of this mountain. I say mountain, it's not as large as most of the mountains that you've seen in Alethkar. This is a rather large, probably between a hill and a mountain. But the roads that you were traveling along, a few meters off towards the south from where you are currently at the entrance to the chasm, and you can see there are many, many booted footprints leading back towards the Aelthi war camps. I mean, you don't even need to roll a survival or a perception for this. A small army moved through this area to attack you and then has made their way back towards the Shattered Plains. You can follow their footprints easily back towards the Shattered Plains.
So in relation to the Shattered Plains are in the east, right?
East, yeah. You guys are currently west. So if you were looking at the map, I can ping where you are.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Okay.
Currently in the northern part of the Frostlands, the southern part of Alethkar, moving along the border between the two. If that makes sense.
I think it is.
Okay, so we have go on. What were we going to say?
I think it's clear that troops have moved through here. They're heading to where I suspect the Shattered Plains are, provided they aren't in the same area, then we can follow them back to the Shattered Plains, if that is where we still wish to go. I for one am ambivalent about heading in that direction.
Well, we could head to the Frostlands, to the south, and skirt around the mountains. Just go through the hills there, and New Natan is just on the coast there. It could be a possibility. We wouldn't have to deal with, well, hopefully with any enemies, as many as evil or as deadly as the ones we just encountered. Leave them to their devices in the Shattered Plains.
You do realize that the thing we're trying to avoid is actually the big storm. The high storms that come roll through, there's basically no chance we can get that far in that time.
I mean,
Not to
yes.
mention, we do not have enough food to get us from here to New Natan. As much as I think I would like to see your hometown, Rav-eth, it has always been something I've wanted to see, but I do not think we can get that far.
Well, then that just leaves us to head towards the Shattered Plains, if that is what you're concerned about, if a high storm does hit, which it certainly will, probably within the next, 24 hours maybe? Look through my book.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Quite bad.
Maybe more, maybe less. We are due for one.
You have the training of a storm warden.
Oh, no. My people are well versed with the storms. We are close to where they originate, so we have an innate understanding. We farm the lowlands and make advantage of it when the low storms come through for our crops and whatnot. If we are looking for shelter, then I don't think we will be able to get far to any of the settlements. It may be that we have to head into the Shattered Plains, which there isn't much there other than maybe a war camp or two, or maybe a cave. I don't quite know if there's anything else there, I'm afraid.
I was thinking that a cave might be all we need to get past this first high storm, and then from there we can plan forward. But I mean, first things first, let's crest this rise here and make sure that shard bearer and his friends are
not just sitting there waiting.
No longer in the area.
Probably a wise choice.
Owen, the footprints are leading
East.
just towards the Shattered Plains?
You can see they've come from there and are now heading back to there. If you want to learn a little bit more, though, perception or survival.
I would.
I'd also allow deduction. I like that we have a deduction. I like deduction as a skill. Deduction's great.
Yeah, deduction's fun.
5.
I was better at deduction, apparently.
5, Ztar. The footprints are confused. You can tell that the soldiers were heading back to the Shattered Plains after, but how long ago, even how many of them are left, it's hard to determine. There's also these very strange circular half footprints. You've got no idea what they are, but they seem to be moving in groups of 4, something, and it was heavy, whatever it was. No idea. No fucking clue. For those playing at home, hoof prints from a horse. But for Ztar, who knows?
I call over Rav-eth and Miki. Have you ever seen prints like these? Are these from some kind of tall, heavy chull, or?
With only 4 legs.
I think this is a horse.
Yeah, are you pulling my leg? Is this some sort of lowland joke? This is a horse. You know those creatures that you can ride? The bloody shard bearers. They wear them on the battlefield. They carry them on their back and they give a swipey swipe. They don't bother battling properly. It's a horse.
It strikes you in this moment that Miki has heard of horses but has not seen them, and the stories that he has been told clearly changed in the retelling as they made their way up the Hornida Peaks.
You don't need horses in the mountaintops because you've other means of transportation.
I know. Are you sure this is a horse? This does not look like hoof prints that I have seen before.
Yes, it is a horse, of course.
And then I just shake my head like I've tracked many a person on horseback before. The fact that I've missed this is both embarrassing and concerning for me.
It's confused with the other footprints, Ztar. You've also just realized that you've outed yourself as a singer. They don't yet know that you are a Parshendi. They certainly don't know any of your history. But, I mean, humans ask questions and they scheme and you don't know what they're thinking. You can't... There's no rhythms to listen to. It's so hard to know what's going on in their beady little eyes and their weird, hairy little heads. You've got no clue. Yeah.
Then I'd be humming to embarrassment, and then
Yeah, they're in mate form, war form all the time. It's hard to understand what's going on with humans. Really hard. It's tough, man.
Shall we just get up there and scout out this area, make sure that they have all left?
That is the most sense. Let's do that now. Thank you very much.
I agree. Let's go.
And then I kind of just usher them away and stupid footprints.
Yep. There are no signs of soldiers waiting for you. There is no ambush at the top of the rise. The soldiers have left and the road seems clear. There are no signs of any people on the horizon. But if you want to have a bit of a closer look, I'd say perception would fall under here. Bit of a peek around. Rav-eth, Miki, if you want to do that while Ztar was looking at the hoof prints and like losing his goddamn mind.
Yep.
Yeah. Next time try tuning to the rhythm of sight, Ztar. Rhythm of being better. 7 perception for Miki. Wow.
To get good.
Miki, the Shardbearer must have been carrying the horse on their back. Clearly there are no horse tracks. Ztar was correct. Not much to see here. The pathway leads towards the east. These are lowlands, so you don't know where you are or what's going on. Not a lot for you to take away from these tracks or anything to see on the horizon. The air is so thick down here, it's hard to think straight, Miki. Rav-eth. Yeah. Underneath the soldiers' booted prints are cart tracks. You don't think they're much older than those of the soldiers. Maybe a day or two ahead of you. And the tracks are deep to have survived a group of soldiers walking over them. Probably heavy, probably moving slowly. If you can catch up, there might be another caravan in front of you. The question is, have they encountered these soldiers, now identified as Thanadil's soldiers, or was this a completely targeted attack against your caravan in particular? If it was targeted against you, you can seek shelter with this other caravan. If it wasn't targeted, maybe there's some survivors who need help. Maybe there's some supplies that you can get. Maybe a caravan that isn't destroyed, a wagon that you can hide in when the next high storm comes.
The wagons are tracking in the direction that we were heading, correct?
Yeah, and they look like they were maybe a day ahead of you.
Okay.
So
I share that information with Miki and Ztar. Maybe we can get... Yes, Miki.
Oh, no, go on. Sorry, I interrupted you.
Oh, no. I just think if we could get the wounded and the able bodies down back with the caravan, if we can get them to maybe get to this other caravan, we might be able to seek shelter with them, and we stand more of a chance of surviving the high storm. Then, if that is the case, it would only be maybe less than a day, maybe if we move quickly. The wounded don't seem to be hindered by any lower body injuries. I tended to mostly upper body or abdomen injuries with the wounded. We should be able to move fairly quickly if we need to.
Look, that sounds great. Let's do that.
Okay, we should go down and perhaps that Aelthi noble boy, I think. I'm surprised he's not.
He was
not
quite the piece of work, wasn't he?
Well, yeah, I suppose. I'm surprised he's not a bit more worried. I would have thought that someone from his. I mean, the Aelthi houses are fighting each other all the time, but he seems rather nonchalant about the whole thing.
I think my take is he's like a wine sack. You give him a little poke and he'll just crumble. Let him be for the time being, and then just if we need to take him down, then not like literally, just take him down a level. Take out the water, you could say.
Well, okay. Well, he might be able to at least give us a bit of insight into whether or not the other caravan might be in trouble. He might know something we don't.
Oh, yes. He is the type to know how caravans work. He's kind. That's very wise to check.
This is true. Shall we go down and let the rest of the group know what we have found?
On our way.
All right.
Perfect. As you head down and reconvene with the rest of the group, sharing what you've learned, the survivors are beginning to make their way up the edge of the canyon. And as you all begin to convene and begin to make your way down the road, for the next 3-4 hours, it is slow going. The chulls do not move quickly. Their crab-like legs moving in groups of 2, dragging their enormous bodies forwards. And no matter how many times they are encouraged, poked or prodded, the one chull that is pulling the makeshift sled that Neivien has made, and the chull that is walking behind, do not increase their pace. It is becoming apparent that time is not on your side in this endeavor. As it approaches dusk, looking ahead, you can spy a series of broken sections of stone off towards the right-hand side of the track, off towards the south of the path that you're following. And you can see the remains of old campsites set up underneath the lip of this overhanging section of rock, a hollowed out region forming this natural, not quite a cave, it's not quite deep enough to be a cave, but a natural alcove carved into the rock, probably sandstone that's been blown away by the high storm, leaving behind this natural protected alcove. It's back facing towards the east, facing towards the origin of the storms, the safest spot that you can find out here on the plains for the moment. And as you head on in and begin to set up camp, you can see this must be a common spot for wagons and caravans to stop off. The remains of old campfires, even a few scraps of cloth, other supplies left behind, scraps of food half buried, as well as a makeshift latrine dug at the far corner away from the curve in the path of where the high storm would blow through and wash away your poop. A makeshift latrine has been set up as well. And as you settle down, you watch as the older, grizzled Aelthi man, Aelthi soldier, heads towards the lot of you. Takes you all aside, seeing that you are kind of more active and less injured than most of the other people here. As he does, you watch as he sort of nods, looking at the rest of the survivors. We're moving too slowly by half. We're going to need to split up. My guards and I, we've been charged to stay with the caravan. You lot, if you could move on ahead quicker, I think when first light breaks in the morning, if you lot can make your way to the Shattered Plains and send help back to us, it's the only way out of this. I'm Vedan, by the way.
Vedan. Rav. I'm sorry I did not give my name earlier.
It's fine. I kept mine from you as well. I can hardly judge. I need to get to Bethab's war camp. Are you familiar with the Shattered Plains? And have you been there before?
Can't say that I have. I'm new to this place.
I'm usually avoided on my travels back to New Natan.
Fair enough. Can't say I blame you. Well, when you get to the camps, there's 10 of them arranged, one for each of the High Princes, in an arc along the border of the Shattered Plains. The king's castle, the palace they've erected for him there, is overlooking the main market district. You need to look for Bethab's camp. Don't go to any others, and certainly don't go near Thanados. Okay.
Okay. Do you have
Seems
something?
wise.
Do you have something of an insignia, some sort of note that we could give to these Bethab individuals?
I got insignia from one of the uniforms. Tried to collect the boys' glyph pairs, those that perished. He reaches in, begins to pull out a few torn strips of fabric that he hands over. 2 of them inscribed with the Bethab house glyph pair. Yeah. Take these to the guards, show them, tell them what happened. Leave out anything about Thanadel unless you're talking to Bethab or any of his trusted advisors, high princes. You, as he looks towards you, Alaran, I'm hoping you know the difference. You know who to talk to, who you can say things to. You've played the game before, the politics that goes on.
Whilst his face is saying the answer to that is no, his words are saying yes, and this yes, I am part of Bethab's house, and this is my wheelhouse indeed. I do this kind of thing back home all the time. Yes.
Can I insight check that? Can I insight check? It's just like D&D. Can I insight check that?
Yeah.
I don't think he's that convincing that you need to, but if you would like to see, like,
How bad?
I'm letting you guys know that it's not a convincing ruse.
17. Rav-eth, this boy here. Yeah, sure. He might be. His family might be under Bethab's princedom, but like, they're not a major player in Bethab's house. Clearly, I mean, this lad was traveling with none of his own guards on a caravan, traveling to the Shattered Plains. You don't know what the situation is with Alaran, but he is not as important as he thinks he is, as he is saying he is. He is out of his depth. And while his mouth proclaims that he is practiced in this, his eyes are screaming, please help me. Yeah. This lad needs a kick up the ass, a bit of a humbling, and then a chance to figure himself out from scratch again.
Rav just like nods, like,
Would Alaran and Neivien have had much in the way of conversation during the...
Well, this is one of the questions I was going to ask during the downtime. So this is perfect, because we don't have to. I mean, that's enough information with the back and forth with Vedan. The question I was then going to pose to you is: this is a chance where we can start to forge longer lasting bonds that we haven't seen yet. So, if any of you wanted to have had more of a conversation on the caravan before, if any of you wanted to have traveled before now, or even bumped into each other before the caravan, now's the time that we can do it. The other thing that you also all get is a cultural expertise. So each of you start with one that is related to your background. So each of you have already chosen based on your heritage. You all now get to select another cultural background. You don't have to pick it right this second, but we will go through it and we'll make sure it's all selected before the end of the session. And each of you will get from your original cultural backgrounds a token, I guess is the word for it, or an item from your culture. For the Aelthi, it's a training medal or something similar, a Zish, book on law or something similar, stuff like that. Essentially a personal item that might be important to you and have some cultural significance to you, as well as personal significance as well. So Ztar, yours might be a fragment of a great shell, or it might be a scrap of the listener songs that you've brought with you, or it might be, maybe a carving or a painting of a spren, something like that, something that's important to you. You don't have to pick it right now, but again, that's the next thing that you kind of gain as we go through the session 0. But in terms of existing connections, Neivien, maybe you've even traveled with Alaran to Kolinar for the caravan. So Alaran is from Bethab's princedom, which is not too far off Kolinar, but it still would have been a bit of a journey, and you would have been coming from further west, Neivien, coming from Yarkavad. So it is possible that you've even traveled with Alaran before this caravan. It's up to you guys how much of an existing connection you would like to have.
If Brightness Neivien is from Vedan. I am from Karanak. So if we look at the map, they are literally like harbor cities, like nested cities. And I think that most of my time has probably been Karanak, Dumadari, Vedana as like the little prince that's standing at the back of like some other person's meeting.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like what I expect his experience has been in those important discussions, important places. But I don't think he's probably ventured far outside of there, apart from to travel to Kolinar for, the big events.
Yeah, 100%. What do you think, Raph?
In saying that, then, I agree. I think there's probably every chance that we've run parallel in social circles. I don't think we would have had a huge amount of anything to do with each other outside of introductions and polite light talk here and there.
In foreign cultures, men and women at social events are often separated unless they are dancing together or courting. Neither of you are courting each other at this point, as far as I'm aware. In terms of dancing together, I don't get the sense Alaran would go and dance with a woman. I'm not getting that vibe. Yeah. That's the vibe I'm getting. So that makes a lot of sense, Raph.
Is dancing a masculine or feminine art in Voron culture?
It is one of the only shared ones. For the purposes of courtship,
sword dance,
the Voron Church are okay with men and women dancing together. That's not a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Not to mention the fact that I think there's close to a decade between us in age.
Yeah. How old are you, Neivien? You're in your 20s. Alaran's like 16, 17.
Nevien's mid to late 20s. Yeah, maybe like 26, 27.
Yeah. There is also a decade between you, which is a less common pairing in Voron cultures. Generally, couples are of similar ages. It's not unheard of to have a decade or more between partners, especially political marriages, but you're from minor houses. There ain't no political marriages that you're involved with each other. And that's the thing, actually, Neivien, you would know that Alaran is from a minor house. Alaran, you would know that Nevien's from a minor house. You know that neither of you are. This more goes the other way. Neivien, you know Alaran's not as important as he's making himself out to be, especially in this moment, as Alaran is like, I'll go speak to Bethab. You're like, yeah, bullshit you will, little boy. Yeah.
So yeah, I think we definitely have an amicable element to us, and we know enough about each other that it's not just a weird standoffish situation.
And you are similar. You're from similar backgrounds. You're both minor nobility, thrust into this moment of danger. Neither of you are coping particularly well. I mean, both of you recognize this in the other. Alaran recognizing Neivien struggling, Neivien recognizing Alaran struggling. I guess in a way there's also like a kind of loyalty there as well. You would see each other as the same, especially in comparison to the like 6.5 foot, 7 foot tall, red-headed horn eater happily munching on some like cremlings that he's like cooked in a pot just next to you. The actual Parshman, possibly Parshendi at this point, talking to you quite happily. And the weirdly cheery Theylan, who is taking all of this death and destruction in his stride and laughing about it. He's a pirate. Both of you at this point are like, he's a fucking pirate. And then the Natan, strange blue skin, white hair. Rav-eth is an unusual sight for both of you. I mean, amongst your companions, you would see yourselves as the normies and everyone else as bizarre. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the furthest Alaran has traveled is potentially Cabronth, and that was a like foreign place.
Yeah.
So,
Cabronth is really not that far away for you, and it would have been this like, I mean, traveling to the City of Bells to Cabronth would have been this momentous day, and your father would have been there on business. You weren't there for very long. You certainly weren't running amok in the city. You're on your own out here, Alaran. This is very different. This is not the adventure as you thought of adventures. Yeah. So okay, in that case then, let's say that you both do have a shared connection. Neivien, would that prompt with that, so I think you were asking if you'd had a chance to talk. Was there something you would have wanted to talk to Alaran about? You could have had a chance now or even earlier to talk about whatever it is you wanted to talk about.
No, more just she, I think, is in still almost a state of shock. You know, you'll notice, the others would notice that she's been holding her hands, and anytime she's not holding her hands, they're shaking very much uncontrollably. She's trying hard to keep it together, as a light eyes lady should, but that's really fucked her up, man. She's a bit, you know, she almost got killed or worse during that fight, and so I think having someone that she can have some semblance of normalcy with would be very important for her at the moment. So I think almost subconsciously, without really intending it, she's probably following Alaran around to an extent.
Yep.
Unintentionally, almost in a slightly subservient way, just for that level of comfort and just wanting something that makes sense at the moment.
Yeah. And I think in response to that, if you know Alaran and you've seen him as a boy and known him as like probably like an elder teen when he is a child, you know he is a piece of shit child. And he knows you know beyond this mask, and he knows that this mask that he is delivering is the facade of his house's responsibility, and you know that this is his performance, that he's behind it the same way you are shocked. This mask is purely to perform across the front of that, so that is not seen. And even if that veil, that mask is not believed, people aren't seeing what is really going on because they're paying attention to the performance of it. And
is Alaran acting a lot like his father in these moments?
Yes, he is 100% trying to do the tough guy things. He's doing the leadership things. He's doing the ideal of masculine dominant control, assertiveness. But I think the thing that is true, that is actually potentially coming through, is that he actually could have an intellect in there. It is not just bravado and big name, because that's failing him at every single attempt. But there might be something else going on there. He might, be looking at things and noticing things.
And any little hint of that I see, Naveen's probably clocking that, because that would be unusual for her to see in Alaran. She's probably, anytime they've engaged in any social anything, he's just been a little twat. And seeing,
or as we say in Australia, a bit of a bastard. Yeah. Not a total bastard, because that's a good thing. It's a bit of a bastard that's the problem.
Clearly the mask is clearly a mask to Neivien, but she is starting to see those little glimmers of light that are surprising to her. And I think herself being a very cerebral individual is probably drawn to that to an extent for some level of comfort, connection.
For sure. So my question to all of you is, are you willing to accept Velan's proposal to travel ahead to the Shattered Plains? If so, you will gain this as a goal. So one of your goals that you can add to your character sheets is going to be travel to the Shattered Plains, get help for the caravan. So any of you who accept this, that is a goal. You may add it to your character sheet. That is your primary goal for the moment. If any of you do not want to add that as a goal, let me know, and we will have a little private chat behind the scenes for what your goal might be instead. But for a start, this is a really good starting point, and then we will talk about, punch my microphone, we will talk about personal goals and add personal goals as we go as well. This is like a group target, but then you'll also have personal goals that you'll be trying to achieve as well. My next question. Where?
Is there a spot for that?
There should be a spot for goals in the second page on the character sheet. So if you open up the character sheet and then go to the second part, purpose, obstacle, and goals. At the moment, you won't have any purpose or obstacles. Those will fill out later. But goals at the moment, that's the one we'll chuck in. Now, the next question I have for you.
Two separate goals.
One separate goal. Well, actually, no, you're right. It is two separate goals. Travel to the Shattered Plains. Get help for the caravan. I think that actually does make sense as two separate goals. My next question, and this is one more multiple choice. I know I said we were done with them, but we're not. There's one final multiple choice. So during the course of your journey so far, I have been marking off when you have collected resources, and I have been tracking them as a separate tab. You now have a choice ahead. Each of you has a choice. The resources are a group pool that I've been keeping track of. It's at this point where you now choose what you are taking and what you are leaving behind for the caravan. So here is my question to each of you. I'm going to read it out for all of you, and then I'll get each of you to tell me. Are you leaving behind food, weapons, water, blankets, tools, or nothing? And I'm going to go through each of you, and I need an answer from each of you. Miki. Food, weapons, water, blankets, tools, or nothing?
He's going straight survival on this one. So what is being brought is food, water, blanket.
Yep.
And depends on what the tools are. Tools are probably just, we don't have a caravan, so there's no need for it.
So leave behind some tools for the survivors?
Yeah, leave tools.
Okay. I will mark off.
Actually, no. These are tools that are prized to him. He's keeping these tools. I take that back.
In that case, would you like to leave behind nothing?
Weapon, I guess, is
weapons.
the only thing that's being left.
Cool. Some weapons, no problem at all. I will mark that off. So I just need to mark off a few things for you. Where are you, Tom? One. Interesting. Alrighty. Next up, Matt.
Can I get the options again?
Food, weapons, water, blankets, tools, or nothing. And what I'll do, I'll copy and paste that in the chat so each of you can see it and you can tell me.
That's a great idea.
I know, right? I have these moments of brilliance. There you go.
Would tools constitute? What would tools constitute? Like, are they material, like more materials, or are they? Like,
yeah. So tools is constituting salvaged materials. It might also, for you, Rav-eth, mean that you leave behind some of your medical supplies. It might be that you leave behind some bandages and some antiseptic. Tools is kind of like a catch-all for things that are.
Yeah, Rav-eth goes like full survival mode. He realizes that, obviously water is important, but if everyone has drank water at this point in time, they have at least 3 days. But the high storm is a more pressing threat for them.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Because that will come sooner. So he is probably thinking they might be able to find help and be back within that period of time. If they can protect the caravan for the immediate threat, Rav-eth will be happy to leave the tools. So things like the canvas, anything that they can use to like give them some sort of protection against the elements, he would be happy to leave that with them.
Perfect.
Especially since they're so exposed, I guess, at this point.
Yeah. Joshy, what is Gark leaving behind?
I think if it's leaving it behind for the caravan, he'll definitely leave food behind.
Yep, food, easy.
He'll leave food behind for them because you can, survive for a long time without having food, so that's fine.
Your ideal is very clear. Thank you. You've been very consistent on the ideal.
He'll definitely leave some tools behind. He's more of a hands-on person.
Yep.
And will use other people's tools if needed. He'll take some water with him.
Yep. You only need to select one to leave behind because it changes which ticks I give you. So whichever one is the highest. Only one. Just the highest priority that you'd leave behind. Sounded like food was the highest priority. Cool. Harrison, Ztar. Highest priority for the survivors.
Does me taking this mean they get none of it, or?
It's more about. This is more about me figuring out.
them to try and help them stay strong.
Exactly. And it's more about you making a sacrifice for the people. Because you can easily say, no, I want to keep the resources. As I said, I've got a pool of resources that I've allocated to you based on your choices and based on what's happened during the session 0 so far. The question is, would you want to sacrifice some of those resources I've collected for you to help the people you're leaving behind? You don't all have to say yes. Some of you can say yes, some of you can say no. It is also, so far you've left behind food and tools and weapons for the survivors. You can say no from now on. Like it's, and I still get to mark off things for you. So it's all good. You're not missing out either way.
No, I think I would take weapons and then trust if I needed food in this journey, I could probably hunt something up.
Yeah.
Myself. So I'd leave them food. I definitely take water because we're doing a lot of running. So as long as they would have some there, so they wouldn't just immediately die of thirst. I don't think what the starve was for water there, but the word dehydrate.
Dehydrate, yeah.
Yeah, so as long as they didn't just shrivel up and dehydrate in what I think the journey could be, then I'd leave them probably food as the preference, but I probably wouldn't take a blanket or tool with me either.
Food is the preference. Easy done. For leaving behind. I will mark that off for you right now. You've also been a bit consistent, which is good. Raph, Neivien, pick one. The most important one that you can leave behind.
Well, I think...
Or none.
For me to make that choice, I would have first wanted to find out how long it would be expected our journey to take to get to the war camps.
You think at this point you're a day or two away.
Okay.
And a group on horseback to get to them, or a group traveling quickly with a wagon, would be able to get back in a day. You guys are walking, which slows you down.
Well, Naveen's thoughts is water they can get from the high storm.
Yep, that's very true.
Food.
They've got some food. 2 people have left them food so far.
I think just in case of banditry, Naveen's going to leave them some more weapons.
Cool. Done. I'll mark that off right now. Weapons. Okay. Yep. Awesome. You've also been nice and consistent with these, Raph. Okay. Alaran. Ash.
This is the hardest decision of the night because Alaran
nothing.
Doesn't want to carry anything himself.
Oh, true. Yeah, that's true.
So I think it is the Theylan who's the one who basically is like, yeah, kid, you're going to go do this for us. You got to, and that stirs him into this, and he's obviously like, yeah, I could walk a day, lead these guys into camp, and be the hero. In terms of what's being left behind, I don't think that many of those things are important for him to carry. In his mind, if he needs it, he's grabbing it from somebody else in the party to take.
Yep.
But what he is leaving behind probably is the one thing that he carries that he's kind of clung to that's of no use to him, which is currently his dagger.
Yep.
And he's giving it to Theylan almost as a mark of like authority. Yep. And a symbol, and he gives him his dagger and says, like, we'll see you on the other side, or something to the effect of that. And that's like literally the last thing that is giving him weight that he is carrying.
Perfect. That's brilliant. That is all I needed. Fantastic. As you make your way, leading out of the camp, we are now going to finalize your character sheets. In the original session 0, there's a combat that takes place before the finalization of the character sheets. I actually want to do it the other way around, just because it does give us some extra options, and I think the combat will be more fun if we actually get to enjoy it with your finalized character sheets. So this is the part where I get to dramatically reveal that I've been tracking all these special things for you. At this stage... I have. Can I get each of you to look through your attributes? None of your attributes, so these are on your character sheets. The attributes are the 6 stats: strength, speed, intellect, willpower, awareness, and presence. You now have the option to edit and modify all of your stats so that the total is 12. You cannot have more than 3 in any one of those stats. So you may now raise, I don't think any of you have exceeded 12 during the purposes of the thing. So all of you may now increase your stats so that the total across the board, you all started at 1, the total of all of them added up is 12, and none of the individual values may exceed 3.
3 drop values?
Yes, please. Absolutely. As you see fit. Before you do though, should I actually no. Carry on. Because you get to pick the class in a little bit. So yeah, no, carry on. When you have done that, we can now do your skills. So each of you will have 4 skill ranks that you may now apply to your character sheets. None of the individual skills may exceed a total of 2. So those boxes next to the skills, you can't have more than 2 of those checked, but you can now redistribute your skills so that you have a total of 4 of those black boxes ticked next to the skills on your character sheets. Does that make sense? Don't panic too much. Total of 4 black boxes ticked. So it could be 2 and 2, 2, 1, 1, or 1, 1, 1 if you want it to be a more diverse character. Don't panic too much if we don't get it done, or if you change them after this moment now. We're not locking them in this moment. It's more just about building them up, and then what we'll do is the beginning of the next session, we'll go through each of your character sheets in more detail, because you'll have a week to finalize them and play around with them. So don't panic too much. These don't need to be finalized and set in stone right now. But that's pretty much the main thing we need to know. Your movement speed or your movement rate is based on your speed. If your speed is 0, you have a 20 feet movement speed. If it's 1 to 2, you get 25 feet. If it's 3, you get 30 feet. So nice and easy to calculate, which makes my life really, really happy. Any questions about your character sheets? Any changes we need to make so far?
So how many squares do we get?
4 of the black squares.
Oh, so we've already got 2. We just have to select another 2.
Exactly. Yeah. You can change them around. Even if you've got 2 already selected, you can remove those and allocate them elsewhere. This was more about like building the characters up as you go through, but you can change them if you want to. That's not a problem at all. The next thing we get to share. Could I have each of you please roll me 2d6? Alrighty. The number you just rolled is going to influence another number that you will now roll, an additional 2d6. Tom, you rolled a 6. Could you please roll 4d8? Raph, you rolled a 10. Could you please also roll... can you roll 3d12? Josh, you rolled 8. Could you please roll 4d8? Matt, you rolled a 7. Could you roll 4d8? And the number that you've rolled, the second number that you rolled, is how many marks you get added to your inventory. These are the marks that you managed to scavenge. Ash, you rolled a 3. You get 2d6. Wow. Matt, 25 marks to start us off. That is excellent, mate.
Pretty good.
8 marks for Alaran. He doesn't carry his marks on him, all right?
Just while we're doing that, I just remembered when I got the Hadazian to gather the marks from the dead. That's obviously not something I want to add to my specific thing. I imagine it was on one of the chulls, but do you know how much that was?
The extra amount that he gathered? Yes, I do.
Okay.
It was an additional 32 marks.
Okay, cool.
I roll a 9, but I actually don't think the
You would have
tar would
marks.
One, I have no real interest. I would, but
if you
I
like
just don't
Ztar,
think that I
these
would
could
have
be-
scavenged from corpses.
No, you wouldn't have. So in this case, these aren't things you've scavenged. These are things you've found from the caravans, not from the corpses. And they might even not be. They might not be marks themselves. They might be gemstones that you picked up along your travels that you've rescued. So add them as the value. Yeah.
All right. Well, I didn't tell you what my second roll was. I got 9 for my first one.
9 for your first roll. Could you please roll for me? Sorry, I got to go back a little bit. 3d12.
3d12.
I know, right? Now, because I have been tracking things for you, after all of that, the resources that you have to start the game 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9,
15.
10 resources, which means I need to roll on a table. So, do.
Is there a place to put our marks on the thing?
Second page.
Yep.
Under spheres.
You beat me to it.
Yep.
Okay. We're going to go through some scavenged items that you get to carry with you, and they're going to be random that I'll put on the page for you. So I just need to mark off. I'm going to put this in the chat so that I can remember it. I don't have to keep going back to it. You're actually starting off in a really, really good position. So I need to have people roll some things. Josh, could you please roll for me on the common items? Could you please roll a d20 for me? Could I please have Tom roll a d12 for me? And Haz and Matt, could you both roll a d8 for me, please? Okay. The rare item that you have scavenged, Ztar, that the group can use is a crossbow. I'll copy these all in and I'll paste them all in the chat so you can divvy them up afterwards. We don't have to do this right now. Rav-eth, yours was a 6. That is a pulley system. That's interesting. I'm not sure what that's exactly for. Woo!
Fuck yeah, mechanical advantage.
Fuck yeah. Miki, yours was a 9. That is a short bow. And we have on the common items. I will do the common items separately because it is going to be a long list of random crap that you now all have access to that you can divvy up as you wish.
Can I just check on the pulley system? Is that like a block and tackle, or what sort of pulley system?
It is a block and tackle. Correct.
How many pulleys? Yeah. What kind of mechanical advantage are we pulling on this bad boy?
It's composed of a dual gear system, so it can multiply the force that you are applying to it to the factor of 2, if my math is correct. Alrighty, I've almost done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There you go. That is all of the common equipment that you salvage as well. Now, what we are also going to do is you'll also get to pick the starting gear that you would have as your because you get the scavenged equipment, and you also have the spheres. When you reach the shattered plains, you'll be able to actually purchase and get the starting gear. We'll go through that. It won't cost you very much at all. I'll go through that once we start. But for now, that is pretty much all the extra stuff for the character sheets, which means that it is time to reveal what your most selected heroic paths were and your most selected ideals. Who would like to go first?
I'll go on then.
All right, Neivien. You consistently selected Scholar as your heroic path. However, Envoy was not far behind. Really, apart from that, you only selected Agent once and then none of the others. Your ideal, you selected Potential more than anything else, which if this was related to a Radiant path, would be an Else Caller, which is the same Radiant path Yasna is, if you were interested in that. Who would like to go next? Miki, you look like you're having a great time. Oh, Rav-eth, Matt, Rav-eth, we can go next. Matt, you selected, you were a bit all over the shop, not as bad as Ash, but you were a little bit all over the shop. You selected Scholar more than any other, however, but you also picked up a point in Hunter, Envoy, Leader, and Warrior, just for fun, but you had 3 points in Scholar. So you were consistent in the scholarship side of things. In terms of your ideals, you are balancing on the edge between remembrance and secrecy, which, if it was related to a radiant path, remembrance is Edge Dancer, secrecy is Lightweaver. So Lift or Shalon as the character that would be most similar. So Radiant Spren, Cultivation Spren, or Life Spren you would have been attracting. Tom, you, my friend, selected Warrior more than any other. No surprises there. Agent, Envoy, Scholar, you picked up a point, but Warrior 4 points. So, I mean, easy done.
Perfect.
Radiant Path, you were also pretty consistent as well. By far the most was Protection, followed a little bit by Tenacity. Protection is the ideal of the Windrunners, Kaladin. Tenacity is the ideal of the Stonewards, which we have not seen in the novels. There is no Stoneward character that we've seen in great detail or spent a lot of time with.
We saw the Stormwall very, very briefly in Wind and Therapy.
That's true.
That's about it.
That's about it. Who would like to go next? Ztar. Hunter, all the way. You dropped a point in Agent and Leader, but Hunter 4. So easily Hunter was the most commonly selected. And no surprises, Justice, which you continue to select throughout this episode as well, which we know is the core tenet of the Skybreakers. I don't want to reveal too much about who a Skybreaker character might be. For those who haven't seen or read that far in advance, there's a character who becomes a Skybreaker later on, but not too dissimilar to the Windrunners in terms of their powers, their surges.
Raph's face is like, spoilers.
Don't you dare spoil this for me, Owen. I can't remember exactly where you're up to, so I'm not going to say anything.
I'm well past that. But that's okay.
Cool. Okay. In that case, then it's Seth. Gark, as Josh, you consistently selected 2 paths, Envoy and Scholar. You are equal in both. You also dropped a point in Hunter, but Envoy and Scholar you were pretty equally divided in, which is really interesting. You also were pretty consistent in your Radiant pathway. You consistently selected Remembrance, which is the Edge Dancer. However, your next most selected, only 1 point behind, was Freedom, which is Will Shaper, which I don't think we've seen a Will Shaper in the novels either. So that's an interesting new one. Alaran, me boy. Now, my challenge to you, Ash, was to not select all different ones this session. And the absolute bastard, that you are, you continued to select diversely. You mostly, however, stand out in the Envoy or Leader pathway, but only by 1 in each. Otherwise, it's equal across the board. In terms of ideal, you also excelled in selecting multiple options. The closest that you have to a lead is a 4-way tie between Freedom, which is the Will Shaper, Self-Mastery, which is the Dustbringer, Tenacity, which is the Stoneward, or Truth, which is the Truth Watcher. And we have seen a Truth Watcher in the series. That would be Renarin. So,
We're still tossing out mad spoilers there, though.
Is that a mad spoiler?
Not in the first book.
It's not in the first book, that's true. But neither are any of the names I just read out of the ideals. So that's fine.
True, there aren't any real Radiants in the first book, so I guess...
Exactly. So I wanted to share the Radiant paths because you want to get excited about those, and obviously all of you are going to be thinking about what Radiant path you want to pick up as time goes on. Your actions will determine which Radiant Spren is drawn to you. What I've talked through tonight is absolutely not the final decision for what your heroic path is going to be, for what your Radiant path is going to be. It's just the options you've selected from the pre-generated ones that were in the book. Obviously, as time goes on, you will choose a varied array of decisions, of choices that will help to attract, potentially, a Radiant Spren. For now, though, that is actually where we are going to wrap up for tonight. When we come back next week, you will have made your character sheets in Demiplane. We will have all of the extra stuff. So when it comes to starting gear, when Demiplane wants you to select starting gear, just leave it blank for the moment. Copy across the spheres and any equipment you've gathered so far. You will get your starting equipment once you arrive in the Aelthi war camps. But first, there's a little bit more you need to do out in the wilds before we get there. Any other questions from tonight before we wrap up there?
No,
Sweet.
that was great.
Awesome sauce. Well done. That is pretty much the end of the first step, session 0. There is a combat sequence that I'm pushing to next week because I want you to be able to actually select abilities from your class to be able to do it. In the original published first step, the combat only goes for 2 rounds and ends at the end of the 2 rounds, regardless of what you've done. Come on. Let's do a combat. If we're doing a combat, let's do it properly. Let's do a proper combat. Yeah, let's dive in. So we will be doing that. But yeah, that's all we're going to do tonight. We'll be coming back in with the full characters ready to rock and roll next week. No more multiple choice questions, only what you want to do and how you want to do it. So from all of us here tonight, thank you so much. We will see you all again next week for more Echoes of Honor. Tales from the Yawning Portal on Tuesday night and Return of the Giants on Wednesday night. Until then, stay safe, stay well. We'll see you guys all soon. Till next time, guys. Bye. See ya.
Bye.
Mwah.